Hello, my name is Scribble, and this is the Week 3 battle for the Seoul Draft League versus Cypher. If you haven't seen the team builder for this week, be sure to check that out, as you'll know what we brought and why. I did change one thing before the battle, but it was relatively minor. I changed Stone Edge on Tinglu to Payback, and I'll explain why in a little bit. And I also optimized its EVs, because I just sort of threw them into attack and special defense in the video, but I played around with the numbers a little bit in the calc. So I just modified the Tinglu set a little bit, but everything else is the same. So check out the team builder if you want to know what we brought and why. Alright, so let's just get into the replay analysis now. So he brought Tornadus, Sandy Shocks, Archaludon, Pelipper, Barraskewda, and Palafin. So nothing super unexpected here, except I really thought he would bring Galarian Weezing, being his only Dragon and Fairy resist. And we have Noivern and Comfy, and plus Galarian Weezing did decently into Annihilate. So I was really expecting Galarian Weezing to come, but it didn't, and I think that's because of the Tornadus' Terra type, which is Terra Steel. And Terra Steel is not something I considered in the team builder, because I think it's a type that does very poorly into Zapdos. And so I just sort of didn't account for it, really, but I probably should have, and that Tornadus is going to prove to be a very big problem for the team. But everything else is expected. He brought Rain, he brought the Archaludon, which we expect to be like a Salt Vest or a Choppleberry. Sandy Shocks, I'm expecting like a Hazard's Lead. Palafin, I think is Banded, or well, yeah, I think it's Banded. I don't think a Bulk Up set is very good into me, so I assume Banded. Pelipper, I'm guessing, is just like defensive or choice specs, like no in between. And then Barraskewda is probably just offensive standard. It doesn't really have a lot of set flexibility. But the Tornadus being Terra Steel doesn't really tell me much about the set. What makes Terra Tornadus so good is that it can just run whatever EVs it wants, and it just like gets all its health back every time it switches, because it can just choose the optimal Terra type for the matchup. And Terra Steel is going to be something I struggle to break through. So, looking at the matchup and team preview, we do have our weakness policy Tinglu as our dedicated lead. I don't know what he'll lead with. I think he could lead with literally every Pokemon on this team except for Barraskewda, I think, and it would make sense. So, Tinglu does Tinglu does well into all of them, because the Palafin is a baby right now. But once Palafin activates Hero Form, then Tinglu is not so good, but we can lead Tinglu pretty safely. So that is what I'm going to do. And he leads with Sandy Shocks. So when I see a Sandy Shocks lead, I assume it's just going to get up Hazards right away. I do have Tentacruel for Rapid Spin in the back, and I know Tentacruel can come in on Palafin, Pelipper, and Barraskewda, so I'm not overly concerned about Hazard stacking. I do know Sandy Shocks, its only move to hit Tinglu is Body Press, but if it clicks Body Press, it's going to do like 20% to me and just proc my weakness policy. So I don't think it's going to Body Press me. I think, if anything, it's just going to switch out or set up Hazards here. So I like to click Stealth Rock, not expecting the Sandy Shocks to attack me. He actually sets up Iron Defense, so he's like an Iron Defense Body Press set, which makes sense if you want to break through Tinglu. This is literally all you can do about it. And now that this has an Iron Defense buff, I don't actually kill with an Earthquake after my weakness policy is procced. So he doesn't know I'm weakness policy, so he could very easily just Body Press me, thinking he'll just like beat me 1v1, because now my Earthquake isn't doing a lot of damage. So I don't really want to take this hit, and I just go into my Annihilate, which does not care about anything Sandy Shocks can go for. He makes a good play predicting my switch and just clicking Spikes. So he pressures my Annihilate right away. And now I don't really know what his play is. He can't like Volt Switch on me without boosting my Rage Fist, so I think he should Hard Switch here. And I think the best way to cover that is just to bulk up and scout. Because once I have a bulk up, then I don't really fear Barraskewda or Palafin anymore. And honestly, because the Tornadus is Terra Steel, if that Terras into a Steel type, then I could just Drain Punch all my health back on it. It won't Terra in front of Annihilate, but if it Terras later, what I'm trying to say is that Annihilate looks very strong right now. Especially because I'm immune to Body Press, which means this Sandy Shocks is of literally no consequence to Annihilate. It cannot do anything. So I'm just going to click Bulk Up here. I see Iron Defenses. I guess to Scout, if I was like a choiced set, like Terra Blast or just... Because I did bring a Banded and Scarfed the previous 2 weeks, but I am Bulk Up, so he... Actually, yeah, that is a good play on his part. He scouts for what I'm going to do. So the situation hasn't really changed for me, so I just click Bulk Up again, as he goes hard Palafin, which is a very brave play, I think. But it is what he has to do, because he reveals he is Boots plus Encore. So I think in the team builder, he saw how big of a threat a Bulk Up Annihilate set was, and so this is his only Encore user on the draft. I think that's true. It's the only Encore user that's faster than Annihilate, at least. But it might be the only one in general. I don't remember. But he Encores me into Bulk Up. And so now I'm locked, but here he clicks Flip Turn, expecting me to switch out because I am locked into Bulk Up. But I do think this is a little over-aggressive, because Flip Turn, your Boots, so the Flip Turn chip is not going to do a lot of damage. So I think you need to hard switch here to cover me staying in, because I could very easily just stay in versus the Palafin, expecting it to switch out, as it doesn't really threaten me. And if it attacks me, then I just boost my Rage Fist, and that's what ends up happening. So I do think this Flip Turn here is a misplay, but it works out in my favor. So here he goes to his Tornadus, as I bulk up. So, Tornadus can't kill me in one shot. It does reveal to be Boots, so it's not like Life Orb or Choice Specs, which is very good information. If I Terra into a Water type, then it really can't break through me. Well, I mean, it can break through me because I'm Encored, but I don't really want to risk it, because I think my Annihilate is going to be my win con here. Like, it really does look good if I can avoid being Encored by Palafin. I think, especially because now I have a Rage Fist stack, I think if I ever get a Bulk Up again, this could just win instantly. So I need to be careful with my Annihilate. And I think that if this Tornadus clicks Nasty Pot here, as I'm still locked into a Bulk Up, and then clicks... Yeah, I believe after this turn, I'm locked into Bulk Up for one more turn. I believe that's the Encore turn count. And so, if that's not right, that's what I was thinking in the game. So I hope I'm right and I'm not spreading misinformation. But my calculation was he clicks Nasty Plot here as I'm locked into Bulk Up, and then he can just two-shot me after the Nasty Plot, and I can't do anything about it. So I do switch out here. As I go into my Comfy, this is my... well, I mean, it's not a Flying Resist, but I benched my Zapdos and Metagross, so this is my Tornadus check, I guess. As he does click Nasty Plot, so that's expected. So leftovers, I get a little bit back. And so here I see I live a +2 Hurricane if he's timid. But I dodge and miss. So I don't know if he's timid or modest yet, but he could definitely be modest if he wants to be. In fact, I guess I'll say it now, this Tornadus is modest, which will be relevant in a second. But I get a lucky dodge, but hey, the rain's not up 30%, what can you do about it? As I get up a Leech Seed. And this turn is actually also when I realized that Leech Seed does not count as a priority move with Triage. I really thought that's how it worked, but it turns out it doesn't. So this exact turn of the game is when I found that out. So sorry for spreading misinformation. There's a... Triage is such a weird ability and has, like, very niche interactions. To me, Leech Seed is, like... It seems like a healing move to me, but I guess it isn't. But, hey, we get a little lucky there. Leech Seed wears down the Tornadus a little bit. I debate protecting here, but, it doesn't really do anything for me because Tornadus can just regenerate it off anyway, and I don't really want to risk him nasty plotting in my face because what can I do to a Terra Steel Tornadus, right? So I go into my Tinglu, take spikes damage, and if he's timid, I guarantee live 2 Hurricanes after the Leech Seed recovery. If he's modest, it's a roll. But he actually just bypasses it all and crits me, which is really unfortunate. Because if I had lived past this turn, then I think I could have clicked Payback here, actually. Because the Tornadus, well, it's either going to have Grass Knot and just kill me, or it's going to not have that move and just, like, switch out. I think he's probably Weather Ball, and Rain isn't up, so there is a chance I just currently wall the Tornadus, which is why I feel confident going into Tinglu here, and clicking Payback to cover Pelipper and Archaladon. This is actually the reason why I went Payback over Stone Edge, because I didn't want to be put in a situation where he could mid-ground go Pelipper or Archaladon. Well, I guess that doesn't really make sense with Terra Steel Tornadus, but it is relevant here because Payback is going to do a ton to the Tornadus, and it does a lot to Pelipper as it comes in, and especially if it's not Boots after Rock's Chip. So that is the main reason why I wanted Payback. I wanted a move that could hit both Pelipper and Archaladon, and so Payback was the best move for that. So I wanted to click Payback here, but unfortunately I just get crit, and I just have to sack my Tinglu. Can't really do much about it. I mean, he clicks Hurricane again here, which does tell me this Tornadus does not have a better move for my Tinglu, or at least not currently, because I assume it's got Weather Ball, and then I don't know what the last move is. So I go into my Deoxys. It's honestly my only play. I'm actually in like a terrible position because I really struggle to break through this this Steel Tornadus. My Deoxys is support. It doesn't have a fighting move, but I can bluff it here. I'm guaranteed faster, and I actually very confidently go into my Deoxys after my Tinglu dies, even though I know I don't have a move that can hit Tornadus, but if I show confidence, he might be scared out, and he doesn't really have a reason to risk his Tornadus here, because I could easily just click Focus Blast or Superpower. So he is going to switch as I set up a Light Screen. So Light Screen covers him staying in for some reason, because it's just the best thing I can do in that scenario, but I'm pretty confident he'll switch out, and he goes Sandy Shocks, which is fine by me. What do I do here? I believe I get up a Reflect. I see Volt Switches, yeah. So, Volt Switching, I guess just trying to catch my switch or get momentum, probably to get into his, or back into his Tornadus maybe, or his Palathin or something. I don't know. But he actually ends up going Pelipper to set up the Rain. But actually, yeah, that's definitely what he wanted to do. He wanted the Rain up. And now, I think for a little bit here, because my Deoxys has Thunder, and the Thunder is teched specifically to just kill Pelipper. I mean, it does a lot to the rest of his team, but the killing Pelipper is the main benefit. So I do think about clicking Thunder here, but based on based on his earlier switches, like, he had no reason to risk his Tornadus. He clicked Iron Defense in front of my Annihilate to scout my if I was a choiced item or not. I'm pretty sure he's going to scout if I have a move for this Pelipper. I think it's the correct play on his part too. Like, I'm not saying I'm like hard reading him here. This is just like, it's just smart for him to do. But I do get some benefit out of this because this Pelipper will now take 2 ticks of rocks without doing much in return. Because it's no boots, so it's definitely Damp Rock. So he does end up scouting for my my Thunder by going back into Sandy Shocks as I teleport. So I get slow momentum and I go back into my Annihilate. So here, it's basically, how do I explain this? There's a few mind games going on now. So if I click Bulk Up as he clicks Iron Defense, I can now just click attacking moves, and he's in a terrible position because I have Screens up, my Rage Fist is already boosted, And if I get that bulk up, then I can just, like, break through his entire team behind the screens. So, he is really pressured to go, like, hard Palafin to catch me on a bulk up turn. So we play a couple intense, like, mind games here. He clicks Iron Defense as I Rage Fist, thinking he'll go hard Palafin, but he gets me there. And so here I kind of expect him to Iron Defense again, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it's really just guessing at this point. So I decide I want some of my health back, and so I Drain Punch, actually, as the Palafin comes in. And I get my health back, which is actually pretty important. Drain Punch does a good chunk. This Palafin is, like, near max speed, because it wants to be faster than my Annihilate, guaranteed. It's got Encore Flip Turn, so I don't know what its last moves are. Well, surely Jet Punch is one of them, and then the other is probably Wave Crash, if I had to guess. So I think if I Terra into a water type, I'm just going to completely wall this, and I can just click Rage Fist, because if it attacks me, then I get another Rage Fist boost, and I believe it's a roll to kill. Especially if he clicks Wave Crash, as he'll take a ton of recoil. So I do elect to Terra Water. The downside is I am now weak to Volt Switch from Sandy Shocks, but because the last move is surely Body Press, it's not a huge deal, because Volt Switch is just going to let me kill something else with Rage Fist, and then Volt Switch only does like 30% to me. Or I think it's like 30 to 40-ish, depending on the Sandy Shocks set, and because our Annihilate is like max special defense, almost. And I also could have screens up, so like, I'm not super concerned about Terra Watering here. So he does click Wave Crash, no Encore, which is good for me. I Rage Fist to hopefully kill the Palafin, but it lives on 1 HP, which is really unfortunate. But Palafin is now, like, I mean, it's in range of Rocky Helmet on Tentacruel, so I do think of just going Tentacruel here to kill it with Helmet. But I don't really want to do that, because I want to keep my Tentacruel healthy for the Barraskewda in the back, which is, it could be scary late game. And if this Palafin just attacks me again, then I'll get another Rage Fist stack. So, oh, yes, he just clicks Encore here, I forgot, as I click Rage Fist anyway. So that's a pretty smart Encore. It covers me switching into Tentacruel, and it prevents me from setting up a bulk up, because if I bulk up here, as this clicks Wave Crash again, then I think he just loses, because I still have screens turns, and then I'm going to Drain Punch my health back. I still have my Resto Chesto Berry, actually, so I can just get back to full whenever I want. So he has to prevent me from bulk upping here, yeah. So he just clicks Encore, and he locks me into Rage Fist as I kill the Palafin, which is good for me. I'll take the trade. He goes back to Sandy Shocks, which I guess, well, yeah, it's to set up a bunch of Iron Defenses to stall out my screens turns, as I'm still locked into Rage Fist. I just Rage Fist again in case he Volt Switches and I get a little chip damage. I don't really know his bulk, so I wanted to get a feel for how much damage Rage Fist will do, but it doesn't do a lot after an Iron Defense. And what I do, I switch into Comfy here. My Comfy does wall this, because Body Press and Volt Switch are the only attacking moves. So I can go Comfy and set up a Leech Seed here, as he goes into Tornadus, and I do get the Leech Seed off. And now this is where not having Zapdos is really annoying. And I think it's a lesson that we will take away from this game. We'll go over a little bit more at the end, but you kind of have to bring a Flying Resist versus Tornadus, because, yeah, especially a Terra Tornadus, because I do not really have a switch in. My Comfy can't do anything to this. I can't Protect, because this can just Nasty Plot. But he switches out into Pelipper, as I go into my Deoxys, because it's the it lives a Hurricane at this HP, and it can at least set up a screen if it Nasty Plots, or threaten it, because he doesn't know my last move. I could still be a fighting move technically that I just haven't clicked yet. But he doubles into Pelipper, and I'm trying to think why he doubled into Pelipper. What did he expect from me? I'm not sure, honestly. Maybe Tentacruel, but I feel like Tentacruel still beats Pelipper 1v1. Like, I can just Rapid Spin or Knock Off into the incoming Archaludon. So, I think if he's going to make a double here, it should have been into Archaludon. Because, Archaludon does not fear anything that, that Comfey does to it. So, if he's going to make that double, then, that's what he should have gone into. But I guess he wants to set up Rain for Archaludon, because without the Rain, my Annihilate can come in on it, actually, because it can't Electro Shot. So, well, it can Electro Shot, it will just take a charge turn. Anyway, he goes into Pelipper here. I don't think this is fully accurate, because it's going to let me get up a screen. So, what do? I click Light Screen here, I think? Yeah. Alright, so now I am 100% confident that this Tornadus is going to stay in this turn, because I have only clicked screens in front of this Tornadus. The last time I clicked Light Screen, I immediately followed it up by Reflect, and he does not know what my last move is. I teleported in the face of Pelipper, which might indicate I don't have Thunder to him. So, or at least not an electric move to hit Pelipper, or even a psychic move, honestly. Like, he might think my last move is, I don't know, Ice Beam, or maybe it's some other, like, hazard. Like, I could be Spike's last move, too. He doesn't know. And I'm just not clicking it because he's got a lot of boots. That could be his thought process. But I'm pretty confident he's not going to switch out Tornadus here. So I go for Thunder. And I get the Paralysis, which is massive. This alone changes the course of the game entirely, and I honestly don't know how this game would have gone without the Paralysis. Probably, like, a lot worse than it did, but you'll see how it goes. But this is huge. It's 30% likely. So, I mean, it's pretty decent odds to get it. We dodged a Hurricane earlier in the game too, so 30% went in our favor this game. That's Pokemon. Yeah, it's just the game we play. But this is massive for me, and I do go for it as he nasty plots. And yeah. So now that the Tornadus is paralyzed, it means my Annihilate outspeeds it. And because my Annihilate outspeeds the Tornadus, it means I guarantee win the game if I can get a Bulk Up off, basically. Because I can rest back to full, and especially if I can keep my screens up with Annihilate, if I ever get that Bulk Up off, that means I'm protected from Barraskewda, and I'll have enough power to just break through the rest of his team. The only concern is, like, if Sandy Shocks can wear me down enough, and then Archaludon lives somehow. That's basically what he has to go for now. But first, I have to survive the Tornadus, but it is paralyzed. He actually switches out, not risking getting fully paralyzed, into Archaludon as I set up a Reflect. Oh, yeah. I Reflect here because I know if he kills me, then I can just go into my Annihilate. And I believe I would Bulk Up and then rest in that scenario. Or I could just kill with Drain Punch. I mean, it would depend if he got fully paralyzed or not. Or also what he clicked. I don't know. Well, no, I would be getting a free switch to Annihilate. I'm not going hard Annihilate on it. Yeah. Okay, I'm waffling a little bit. Anyway, he goes into Archaludon as I get up a Reflect. And what do I do here? I just go hard into my Comfey, actually, because I want to keep my Deoxys around, because I want to be able to set up screens again, maybe. And then Thunder could be nice to have in the back to hit the Tornadus. It did do a good chunk. So I go into my Comfey, on the Electro Shot, because I can eat this up behind a screen. And my plan is to just Leech Seed this and whittle it down a little bit, because I need a little bit of chip for +1 Drain Punch to kill. So I just Leech Seed as he actually Heavy Slams here, which is good prep on his part, because I Calm Mind Terra Comfey could probably have used this as setup fodder in hindsight, especially if he is Assault Vest, which I think he probably is at this point. And, yeah, so if I was like a Terra Comfey with Calm Mind, and his Steel move was Flash Cannon, then I don't think he could have broken through the Comfey, and then that would have been a massive threat for his team. So, good prep with Heavy Slam, but I do live thanks to the Reflect I set up. So I get some recovery with Leech Seed. I protect here because I haven't revealed it yet, and I want some more chip on the Archaladon. But he just goes into Tornadus, which is a good play. I Leech Seed here as he Nasty Plots again. I don't really have a switch into the Tornadus, even though screens are up. So I elect to go into my Noivern here, actually. It sort of doesn't do anything for me anymore now that the Tornadus is paralyzed, which means it outspeeding Tornadus is no longer, like, important. And so I go into my Noivern. I do live a Hurricane behind Light Screen, so my plan is to just go into Noivern and Super Fang for chip. Or maybe Draco, whatever does more. Because I don't know how much which would do more after the Leech Seed damage. But Noivern is just going to get crit and die from full, so goodbye Noivern. Thanks for coming. So I go back into my Deoxys here because I want to set up Light Screen again, and now I'm going for game, basically. If I get that Light Screen up, I'm protected from the Tornadus and the Sandy Shocks and the Archaladon. It's literally just a question of if I can get a Bulk Up off. If I get that Bulk Up off, then Annihilate is just going to win. So I just get up my Light Screen as he goes Sandy Shocks to, I assume to like set up Iron Defenses because he knows I can't touch it. My only attacking move is Thunder. So I just teleport out of there. I don't need Reflect. Oh, I go Comfy, actually. Why do I go Comfy? Why do I go Comfy? Why don't I go Annihilate here? Oh, you know what? It's probably because, Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember. It's because, Body Press, I'm no longer immune to Body Press, because I Terra Watered. And then that +2 Body Press, without Reflect Up and without a Bulk Up boost, it's going to do a significant chunk of damage. And, I think I'm going to run out of health because if I go into Annihilate on this, I'm going to have to rest immediately. And if he clicks Iron Defense again, then I just sort of waste my rest. I waste my Chesto Berry. I can technically rest again if I want to. Okay, yeah, no, I made the correct play. Going Comfy here is better. He has to Volt Switch because Body Press is going to do nothing to me, and I'm just going to beat it 1v1. I miss Leech Seed, which is unfortunate. And, I go hard Annihilate here on the Tornadus. Because I do guarantee live a Hurricane with Light Screen up, and it covers Nasty Plot, because then I can just Drain Punch. But he doubles into his Pelipper once again to set up Rain. And again, I don't think the doubles to Pelipper really accomplish too much for him, because the Pelipper, well, the Pelipper is setup fodder for my Annihilate. And so I just get my Bulk Up off, and Pelipper, it roosts, but it's kind of in vain. It cannot do anything to me behind a screen. I get my rest off, so now I'm healthy enough to deal with everything on his team. It clicks U-turn, and now my Rage Fist is at 200 power, I think. So Sandy Shocks is his last hope, basically. So he Iron Defenses. I Bulk Up a second time because I need this second Bulk Up to protect myself from the Barraskewda. Because the Barraskewda, if it's banded in the rain, it could do a lot of damage. So I just want to protect myself from that. And I know the Sandy Shocks will click Iron Defense here, but my Rage Fist is too stacked for it to really matter. It does 37 at a +4. And so I just Rage Fist again as he gets to +6. But now, if he attacks me with Body Press, my Rage Fist will be boosted again, and that will be enough to kill the Sandy Shocks, even after leftovers. So he just goes for a Body Press crit, but he doesn't get it. It does 48 a lot, but my +2 defense protects me from the Barraskewda now. Barraskewda guaranteed cannot kill me with anything, and I actually kill with a Drain Punch from this health, which is what I'm going to click here, because just in case anything weird happens, I want some health. And so he actually does Flip Turn here, probably going off my choke of clicking Rage Fist, because then maybe I'm in range of the next Barraskewda hit. But he goes Tornadus as I Drain Punch, and I get back to full, and now save a crit. Actually, I think I'm out of crit range at this point. Pelipper comes in, it just dies to Rage Fist. Archaladon comes in here, This is actually a misplay on my part. I should click Rage Fist in this situation, because this Archaladon could technically be Assault Vest. Or, sorry. This Archaladon could be Choppleberry and not Assault Vest. But, it doesn't really matter. Assault Vest is pretty expected, so I just autopilot Drain Punch, and it works out. And he was in Rage Fist range because of how boosted it is. Bearskita just liquidations, it gets a BM Defiant proc, and we kill Bearskita, and we win the game 4-0. And Annihilate actually picked up all 6 kills here, which is crazy. So good job, Annihilate. And yeah, so this was an interesting game. I feel like it was not particularly clean, but at the same time, it was like a not clean game, because I think if we don't get that paralysis on Tornadus, it's a lot harder. And also, if that Tornadus hits Hurricane on Comfy and then gets the Hurricane roll, because I believe if he's Modest, it's a roll to kill, then the game also plays out very differently. And Tentacruel actually never came onto the field, so maybe the fact that we didn't use Tentacruel at all indicates it was like a little more under control, because we always had that in the back. But Tentacruel could not really do anything to Terra Steel Tornadus. Our only attacking moves were Sludge Bomb. Well, we had 4 attacking moves, but Sludge Bomb was our damaging one, and the others were utility. And so, yeah, weird game, I think. But there was definitely good insight to be had here. So the number one thing that I wanted to point out from this game was we kind of tunnel visioned on Terra types for the Tornadus that beat our Tinglu and didn't really think about anything else. We recognized that Noivern was a problem for him in prep, because his Dragon and Fairy resist was both Galarian and Weezing. And, well, that was his only Dragon resist, and so Noivern could break through that, and he didn't really have a good Draco Meteor switch in. So in the team builder, I suggested maybe a Terra Fairy Tornadus, which would become a Draco Meteor switch in, and also give it a move to hit Tinglu if it wants. But he ended up going Terra Steel, and Terra Steel was a lot better into Deoxys, into Comfy, and into Noivern too, because we didn't have a fire move. If it was Terra Fairy, then we could have clicked Hurricane at least. And that Terra Steel Tornadus, it also kept it out of Bullet Punch range from our Metagross. Our priority is actually all resisted by Steel. Draining Kiss, Giga Drain, Bullet Punch, and Extreme Speed, I believe, are all our priority forms. And so that's probably why he went with Terra Steel on Tornadus. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that's probably reasonable to expect. I know at the start of the video that I said Terra Steel didn't make a lot of sense to me because it wasn't great into Zapdos or Tinglu. But in the context of an offensive piece, it definitely does make sense. And he just relied on the rest of his team to deal with Tinglu and Zapdos. And we know from calcing that Archaladon was just like a major problem for Zapdos. And so Zapdos not being on my team is probably why Archaladon did not hit the field until very late. So, Steel types are an issue for our draft that we've noticed. And like Annihilate can break through the Steel types, but Tornadus is obviously initially a flying type, so it gives Annihilate trouble. And I think our draft could use something else to help with Steel types. And Tornadus is not a real Steel type, but I mean, hey, it could be if it wanted, and it was really annoying. So after this game, I actually decided to make a transaction on our draft. I exchanged Noivern for Talonflame, and Talonflame is going to give us another option to pressure Steel types. They still feel that like speed roll flying type. They both have Defog, U-turn. The downside is Talonflame is weak to water and Noivern resists water, and our draft is pretty water weak, but we already played the Rain team, so I'm not super concerned about it, and I think Talonflame is going to complement our draft offensively a lot better than Noivern. So in the team builder for next week, I'll go over the transaction again, probably, and just like reflect on how it changes our draft, and maybe if we think about team building in a different way. But yeah, so shout outs to Noivern for coming to one game and then getting crit and die from full immediately without doing anything. So unfortunately for Noivern, it had its time. And yeah, that'll be that. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next week for the Week 4 team builder. I don't remember who we are playing, so I will see you then. Bye-bye.